Hello students, welcome to Lido Learning's question and answer videos. My name is Pallavi and I teach math and science at Lido. Let's have a look at this interesting question in front of us. So name the characteristics of the sound affected due to a change in its amplitude, waveform and frequency. So which characteristic is affected by what? That is what we have to identify. Before that, let's understand what do we mean by each of these. Right, we have to first understand that. So what do we mean by amplitude? Now to understand this, I have two waves over here, A and B. I will compare these two. How will I compare that? How will I compare them? So let's say this is mean position. Now the definition of amplitude says that the maximum displacement of the wave on either side of the mean position gives the amplitude. So this is the amplitude for wave A. Now look at the amplitude for wave B. Looking at the picture, can you tell which one has a higher amplitude? Clearly, the amplitude of wave A is greater than amplitude of wave B. Now, why are we studying amplitude? Because we know that amplitude is directly responsible for the loudness of sound. Now, what do we mean by this? So loudness is directly proportional to the square of the amplitude. What does this mean? That if amplitude is more, the sound will be more loud, right? So let's compare again. Let's go back to the same example of A and B over here. Now we knew that A's amplitude is greater than B's amplitude. What does that imply? That loudness of A will be greater than loudness of B. Therefore, the characteristic of the sound affected due to change in amplitude is loudness. So if you change the amplitude, the loudness will also change. Let's move ahead to the next part, which is waveform. So what does a waveform depend on? Let me just write it down over here. Waveform. So we are studying waveform now. To understand this, I have four different waveforms. So every sound source produces a waveform, a type of waveform. It may be a square waveform, it may be a triangular waveform, it may be a sinusoidal waveform. So these are few of the examples of waveforms produced. Now due to this, even if the amplitudes are same, let's say the amplitude is same, let's say the frequency is also same, but still there will be some difference in the quality of the sound. So the waveform is responsible for quality of the sound produced. So it entirely depends on the nature of the waveform. Even if your amplitude, pitch, frequency, loudness, everything is same of two different waveforms. But if they are different, the waveforms are different, then the quality of the sound coming out will also be different. Let's talk about the third point, which is frequency. Now, what will be responsible for the frequency, right? So to understand that, we should know what do we mean by frequency. So look at the picture over here. Again, I have two waves. Let's say this is E and this is F. So I have wave E and wave F. So frequency is given as the number of vibrations produced by the source of the sound in 1 second. So as you can see that the number of vibrations produced in wave E is very large than the number of vibrations produced in F. Therefore, I may write that the frequency of wave E is greater than frequency of wave F. Now, let's come to the another characteristic of sound which is related to frequency, which is called pitch. What do we mean by pitch? Now, pitch is directly proportional to frequency of the sound. What do we mean by this? This means that if frequency is more, pitch will also be more and vice versa. Let's apply this to our waves E and F over here. So since FE is greater than FF, this implies that pitch of E will be greater than pitch of F, or E will be a high pitched wave, high pitch, and F will be a low pitched wave. So the quality or the characteristic of the sound will be pitch over here. the characteristic of the sound from waveform will be quality and the characteristic from amplitude is loudness. I hope you understood this. If there is any further questions, please post your comments below. Thank you.